Hello, everyone. Welcome back after such a long time. I think I couldn't stream for almost a month because I was in vacancy, but so good to be back here, and I really hope I'm not doing any boomer mistakes just as I resume streaming because I have no idea what where is. I forgot that a stream should have a thumbnail, and 30 minutes before the stream, I realized that, and here we have such awesome thumbnail. But yeah, good to be back. How have you been, guys? And very interesting and funny suggestions on the chat, but I'm afraid no one has got it right till now. No one has guessed it right till now. Meanwhile, let's get those likes going and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Yes, I have not forgotten completely how to stream. Uh, I will do the commentator reveal when we reach 75 likes. Thank you, Shrish. Thank you. A bit, uh, a bit of distance to go before I reach Dumbledore levels, but I'm getting there one by one. Still don't have 75 likes. Bit disappointing. But the longer we take to get there, the longer people have to wait. 75 just feels a bit low, but okay. Uh, anyway, foreigner or Indian? Well, what's the fun if I reveal that? Then it becomes too easy. All right. Let me. AD sir, really? AD sir. Who said that? 75 likes, guys. 75 likes. And before we get there, I just want to have a poll. Should I unmod this person? Oh, it's reaching 100. Okay, cool. Amazing. Why? I don't even know why people, 17% of them voted for give him last chance. It makes no sense to me at all. Give someone else also a chance to be what? A mod? All right. Still waiting. Last chances for the guess.
Let me see if he's here. So while he joins in, hello,
He's in
Srinath.
an undisclosed location.
Hang on.
Guys, Srinath is also streaming on his channel, I guess. Is it on, Srinath?
Yes, Sagar, it is on. It is on, but they cannot see you yet. I wanted to keep the suspense on for a while longer, but I just didn't prepare for the stream, so it just
You
came
have
on.
a better suspense than me here.
A better suspense than you?
Yeah,
Yeah. I know. I saw. And no one was able to guess. So
Yeah,
I
no.
put my stream's title as Berlin Grand Prix featuring legendary commentator. And almost no one got it right either.
But I don't know who you were saying for that.
Yeah, I'm also a bit confused now.
Okay. You see, Abhijeet, generally when a streamer doesn't talk normally, it means he's fixing his OBS.
Okay. But what do you think about this position of with its like
Srinath?
How big is Levon's advantage here is, or you think it's manageable still for Blunder?
Let me just bring up the question first. I don't have it on my screen yet, the latest question, but yeah, here we have it.
Sachin Paul says players who sit on inferior positions. Hari is another such player. Vidit is better in dynamic positions, but you don't mess with Hari in solid chess. Do you agree, Abhijeet?
Yeah, just give me a minute. I'm getting a call.
Okay, sure. But I think Sachin, you are right. I mean, when it comes to endgames, I think Hari Krishna is really, really good. Although, I mean, in recent times, he hasn't been playing so much. So, but I mean, when it comes to endgames, he's really one of the best. Anubhav says, why not knight d7 in the position instead of rook c8? Anubhav, but kind of you pin your knight here, and maybe here there's already some good options for white. So white to move here, what do you play? Abhijeet, what do you do here as white? I want to test you and the chat. In fact, I'm testing the chat, but guys, let's see.
Queen f4 looks decent. I don't know.
Oh man, very quick, very good.
Very strong.
Let me see if anyone was able to get this.
No, because in the current position also, what they have, I think Queen f4 was a move.
Actually, yes,
Abhijeet, how do you have such a good camera?
I have a good laptop also, so
I mean, it feels like an upgrade.
I don't know. It's just webcam. I'm not using any external camera.
Okay. Sorry, Sahil, bro, to interrupt.
No, I mean, Queen f4 is the right move. And I think Dr. Anand Tendulkar found it. And well, the main point is if you take here, I take with the knight, and all of a sudden this is pinned. Rook is coming to c7.
And now you can see this, bishop into d7, and you get the position I was talking about. Because eventually you will exchange all the rooks. And it's very similar to what we were discussing earlier.
Something like, okay, you can go rook c7, but just even this position is a big kind of, I mean, white can press, here.
Yeah, but here with the rooks on bishop a6 is coming, it's not that easy. But I mean, the whole thing, like if you can exchange the rooks, then it's good to exchange the bishop for the knight. Not the other way around.
Not now. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So rook c8 makes sense. Knight d7 was not a great idea.
Yeah. So knight f4, queen f4, there are many moves for white, actually.
But this is getting intense, 12 minutes left, 13 moves to make for Vidit, 13 minutes for Levon.
But tell me, knight f4, can I go knight e6 if it's possible at all?
Knight f4, yeah, I guess it's possible, knight e6. And then if he takes, let's say you take with the rook, right? Rook c8,
bishop c8,
and rook c1.
Bishop d7.
Yeah, and such a position, what do you think? Like maybe queen f4 and maybe small edge here with the active pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying to play this because ideally I want to play rook c6 and
But then
I think
take
I have
and
to play Rook C6.
check and then A7 hangs, right?
Yeah, and okay, give up this pawn maybe and go for some counter play. But because I don't really see what else can I do. Rook C7 is a big threat.
But this is like pawn you lose with a check also.
Yeah, I thought just King H6, but I needed that square for the Queen C1, Queen H6. But because this pawn doesn't really matter so much, I can play B5 if I can get B5 in. Then I can fix those A3, B4 pawns. So
yeah, but
of
if
course
you don't get perpetual here, it might be dangerous.
Yeah, also Queen F7 is kind of difficult to meet with. So yeah, not. But yeah, you pointed out correctly. Like after Queen F4, it's going to be a little bit difficult in that position with Queen Rook versus Queen Rook.
This one, yeah. Oh, by the way, some moves have happened. Levon has taken on C8, Bishop C8 has happened. Srinath, are you still fixing OBS?
Yeah. I was fixing OBS all this while. I've forgotten how to stream. It's been more than a month. But I think finally here we are.
Man, that was quite a lot of effort, yeah, to fix OBS.
For sure. No, I got it. I got the screen and then I did something and it went off. And then I was so scared because I have WhatsApp on and I was carefully clicking everything so that I don't reveal anything.
Abhijeet, if people could see Srinath's WhatsApp, what do you think would be the most scary thing for him? Who are his students?
No, I don't think it's anything to do with a student because they're quite innocent and
oh yeah, sure.
I mean, even Srinath himself posted some pictures of him and Arjun, before the while. So I think that there you will find many
students WhatsApp see anyway posts on Twitter and Instagram. So that is that can be revealed.
If people had seen what was before those messages and what was below that and above that, the crop part, then things would be totally different,
Then you would have got more retweets, Srinath, than that.
Yes, but I would have also been blocked by someone.
True. Okay, so by the way, queens have been traded and knight has come to f4 now. So
bishop b7, yeah?
Yeah, I think Srinath, Abhijeet says that white is slightly better here. What are your thoughts? Do you think Vidit can hold this?
Yeah, I agree with Abhijeet that white is better, but I think the position is holdable. Black has white is certainly better. The bishop on b7 is bad, and the d5 pawn is limiting it. And black's pieces are not quite playing, but also at the moment it feels like white does not have enough weaknesses to target against. So it's a very long way to convert this position because there's it seems like there's one entry point, the c7 square, which is well protected by black for the moment, and apart from that, it's white has to work to create new weaknesses. Maybe try and open something on the queen side with a4, a5, but all this is a long way away.
But Levon likes playing such positions.
I mean, these days everybody likes playing this kind of position. I think this is one of the major difference, pre-Carlsen and once Carlsen became, Carlsen, that people were drawing this, like they were not actually playing this position at all. Like they were just drawing these kind of positions before. And once he started showing, you can actually press, in this kind of position. Like now nobody's drawing,
Do you think there is something like this called Carlsen era? Because I mean, when you live in that era, you really don't realize that it's becoming into an era. You just feel like, okay, everyone's pressing. But do you think before that people were not pressing so much?
Yeah, for sure. I think many in many top level tournaments, like people are making draws in such kind of positions, and even I've seen Magnus winning like Rook 4 versus 3. Even one game I remember, he bet Ponomariv, I think, where I think it was Rook 3 pawns versus 3 pawns, and somehow he managed to swindle him.
Yeah, it was 4 versus 4, and
4
White
versus 4,
had this
yeah?
one pawn on e5, which was
Yeah,
a weakness. So Magnus played
yeah.
g5 and he got that pawn, and then he managed to squeeze a win.
Yeah, so imagine like if he's playing that position, then this though is a dream for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
even against Vidit, I think in White, uh, it was like nothing. Yeah, at some point, and he almost won that game.
Yeah, true. Um,
Very close he was. Like, I mean, he had to find this unbelievable idea actually in that game, which was like Rookie 4, which was quite tough. But I mean, he created something from nothing.
Yes, and also I think defense of such positions has become a very important skill, now that people are constantly pressing in these types of positions. I think how well you convert these type of positions is one important skill, and the other skill is how well you're able to resist and keep defending these kind of bad positions, which is also equally important at the elite level.
Yeah, I remember one of the games Arjun played, I think in this Magnus store that even, I mean, against Magnus himself.
Yeah.
He had this end game where, Magnus could press forever, but he managed to hold quite comfortably, I must say.
Yeah, he defended quite comfortably. I was a bit nervous during that game. I was thinking, oh, Magnus will keep pressing, and I'm not sure how well Arjun will be able to handle this.
The World
But
Blitz, right?
no,
No,
before
no.
that, in the Gold Money Asian Rapid.
The online. Okay.
And there was also a game of Arjun in Tata Steel Challenges against Jumabayev, where I thought, he was certain to lose. He's going to lose this one. And so he managed to hold on with a very confident defense.
True. By the way, just because one of the questions was, instead of king f7, could Vidit have gone rook e3, attacking the pawn on a3?
One of the moves, rook c1, rook c7 also comes to mind.
Aha, yes. Guys,
So,
this is actually what Abhijeet and also Srinath mentioned, that this c7 square is the big weakness in the position. And if you are, even if you are greedy to go after that pawn, look at the plight of your bishop now here. It's trapped. So you can't do that. Very interesting.
Yeah, the bishop is just lost.
Correct. So by the way, that's why Vidit didn't go. He kept here and king f2. And by the way, while so go on.
It will go 96 and no, go. Yeah, please go on what you're saying.
I was actually, while you guys were discussing, I managed to find that game, but I'll show the Carlsen versus
the Carlsen Ponomarev.
Yeah. I don't, Srinath, is it able, like, will people be able to see that game if I show it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can
okay.
do some quick fix.
Okay, so I can, I mean, or just.
It was, I think, Ponomarev Carlsen. So,
Yeah, this one, right? I mean, insane that Carlsen could win such an endgame.
Yeah. You don't even need the e5 pawn actually to make a draw. So.
And he went g5, and as Srinath rightly remembered, e5 became weak. I think what you guys remember, all the stuff is amazing. Check, came back here.
What year was it?
2010.
Okay. So imagine, he was doing it almost 12 years back. So.
Yeah, he was, I think at that point, just had become world number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I myself remember watching Magnus live once in the BL Masters tournament in 2008, where I think I scored an IM norm and Magnus was playing in the podium. So there's the Masters tournament below and the Grandmaster tournament in the podium, the closed event. And Magnus's first round opponent was Yannick Pelletier, and that was also quite similar. He had this opposite color bishop, which I thought was, just going to be a draw and it's going to be over. And I was like, okay, it's just a draw. 2 hours later, he was just beating Pelletier in that opposite color bishop. And I was watching it live. I was with Ramesh at that time, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah. I think it feels really bad when you lose such equalish games.
I think Hari also has this tendency, to convert these kind of positions quite regularly in his games.
Yeah. By the way, the move knight e6 is on the board, and I think if you exchange it, then the king comes to e6 and then to d6, where is exactly.
I think 92 is.
You would keep the knights.
Yeah.
Yes. You keep the knights, and Mikasa, welcome
Anything
to the
else
knights.
that comes to mind here instead of?
You want to keep the knight, yeah? You just don't want to trade the knights.
Also, I think 11 went Rook h1 here, which is also quite interesting.
Rook h1.
Yeah.
But let's say I go like h5. How does that change anything, or do you think I've created some weaknesses?
It's very hard to say, but one idea, maybe bishop d3 can be an idea, yeah, because after knight f4, gf4, f5 can be hard to meet.
So f5 is coming up, and if you play f5 with black,
maybe can I go g4? I don't know. It's
fg,
yeah,
hg,
check. I don't know what is this endgame.
g1.
Maybe you are just holding on.
Yeah?
I think bishop g6 first. Yeah, bishop g6 first. I think bishop g6, king f6 maybe. Looks scary though. Bishop h5, king f5 is there. Okay, you go back. Bishop d3. Yeah, I think you will get this pawn eventually. Yeah, bishop d3, king g3.
So bishop h5, king f5, and bishop king g3.
King e4. I thought gives black some counterplay.
Yeah, this could get very risky for with it actually, with this pawn running down.
Yeah, but I think the other line was better. Like with bishop d3, if instead of bishop h5, you get this pawn for free. Yeah.
You mean here? Sorry, after bishop takes g6.
Yeah, king f6,
and now go back to d3, and then come here. Slowly.
But how did the rooks get traded in this variation? I missed
Rook h7 check and take. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
But h5 you have to play. Yeah, like you don't have a choice.
Yeah, h5.
Do you have to? I mean, what if you move the king like to g7, and then you have some rook e1 or what?
Yeah, rook e1, king.
But then I come back king f7. I just hold fort without committing anything, which VD is quite good at in general.
Do you agree with this? We were discussing.
He doesn't like commitments. Huh? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, he doesn't commit easily. He likes to keep things.
No, but we were discussing, Srinath, that Vidit doesn't like to defend such positions, and he's not the best at defending inferior positions. But you think so, or you are of a different opinion?
I think he's okay. I mean, I don't think he's particularly bad at it. Of course, he likes to equalize right from the opening. He likes to keep things. He doesn't like to take risks in general. He likes to keep control. So he prefers not to get into such situations. But I think if you're at that level, you have to accept that you're going to get bad positions like this and suffer once in a while. And also, I'm not really sure if he's particularly bad at it. I can't remember. I mean, I know that Vidit is famous for not converting better positions in general, but I can think of several examples where he has saved worse positions. It just doesn't get noticed as much.
True.
No, because if you are a very strong player, people tend to think, you have to defend such kind of positions. So
absolutely,
of course, it doesn't get noticed. It's like in cricket, like as a keeper, if you're taking everything, if you're taking all the catches, you don't get noticed. But if you drop one, of course you will say, okay, what this guy is doing? Yeah, you cannot catch a simple ball.
Exactly. I think that's a pretty good analogy.
By the way, Sachin Paul asks, will we ever see an Indian championship like Russian championship with everyone from Anand, Hari, VD, Abhijeet, Srinath, Arjun, all the youngsters? Will that ever happen?
Actually, besides Anand, there used to be a tournament called PSPB where everybody used to play. But
which is
I
a
think
secret tournament
which
and
is a
nothing.
secret
All the top players of India who are employed with the oil companies like ONGC, IOCL, BPCL would play there, and there would be some very good games, but no one would get to see it. It was like somewhere, and so once I published something on
Yeah.
Chessbase India, and then everyone called and said, please take it down, we can't.
Sagar's internet went.
We have some secret prep. H5. Sorry?
Was your internet disconnected for a few seconds, or was it me?
No, it was, I think, Sagar's only.
Yeah, maybe mine.
To answer that question, we might, but I can't really give away too much at this point.
What?
We might,
Oh, you mean the tournament?
we might see an elite Indian tournament with the best Indian players at some time this year.
Also, All India Chess Federation has already announced a league where, I mean, they didn't mention what the logistic or like how it's going to happen, but it was mentioned that there will be top players in the league. So you never know.
Yeah, the league is definitely going to happen, as far as I know. COVID permitting, which is like the
Yeah.
asterisk in everything these days. The problem with these days is you can't really plan like 6 months ahead or something. Yeah, at best you can see 2 weeks ahead, and then hope that there's no new variant.
True.
All back, sir?
Yeah. Everything is good. Sorry, guys. I was just off for a second. By the way, H5 has been played, and you guys were mentioning about the Indian Chess League.
Yeah, kind of finished talking about it actually.
Okay, cool. One of the point was, can Black could have, instead of H5, taken on D4? Oh, that's just.
But just look at knight c6.
At 7, king, he can't go to E8 or E6, king F8, knight G6 is hanging. So yeah, that doesn't work. Oh, by the way, look at this, guys. Levon has played bishop D3 after H5.
No, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough. Like, I don't see an easy draw here.
Man, Abhijeet, whatever you're saying is happening. Amazing.
I know BD quite well, so I know like how he tends to play. How like I'm sure like I'm not sure whether he'll make a draw or not, but I'm pretty sure he's very nervous right now.
So now tell me, Abhijeet, you know him so well, and Srinath also. Will he take on F4 or will he play knight F8?
See, when you're defending such kind of positions, you want to exchange as many pieces as you can. But maybe knight F8 is a better move. I don't know yet, because knight F8 you give sort of wide a free hand again. Yeah, like
then bishop goes to C2, comes to B3, and you're not really doing anything.
Yeah. But also knight F4, I mean, if he finds something against these ideas, knight F4, GF4, like some G4 or F5 ideas, if he finds something against it, then probably he'll do that. Because F5, G4, I don't really see how you continue.
This is scary, right? This move G4. I mean, is it easy to find, or like you just spotted it like very quickly? But
I actually don't like H5 so much. I would have preferred to just keep King G7.
But I think still, even after King G7, I believe I can probably just take on E6, go Rook C1. You have to come back.
Yeah.
And probably start with A4, A5 business. A4, A5, A6. Or maybe I can improve something on the king side. I'm not sure yet. But the idea is to push the A pawn all the way.
Yeah, but I think it's a better version, no? I mean, the knights have been traded, and I'm not allowing any forceful penetration of the rook on any of the files. And
True, but A5, A6 is a big threat, no? Like, how do you stop it? You don't want to play a6 yourself, no?
But why not?
Yeah, you're putting another pawn on the same square of the bishop.
On the light square, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so bishop d3 maybe, and a5 anyway next move.
Yeah, I think then it's a question of how quickly.
Whether it's a fortress
the
or
king
not,
comes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a5, you want to play b5 then, yeah, because you cannot give this b file also to white.
After a5, right.
But
also equally scary. I see what you're saying.
like
By
this
the
could be
way-
either we just lost or just draw. You don't have anything in between there.
We have reached a very exciting position now after move knight f4, gf4, 35 moves. Vidit has 3 minutes, and threat is f5 by white. Like white wants to play f5. This is, I think, a critical moment between a draw and Vidit losing this game.
I think f5 he has to play and go for that endgame, pawn down endgame, because it's not very easy to also convert that pawn up position. That bishop endgame you discussed.
Right. So
because I don't see
versus,
anything.
3
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I was just remembering this Hari Krishna Ali Reza from Online Nations Cup, which I think was very similar. And Hari was not able to beat Ali Reza in that 4 versus 3. But that was a rapid game.
Yeah. Because I don't see an entry point for the king. White will, of course, play on forever, but also my problem here is like, if not f5, then what? I don't
bishop
see a
c8,
move.
maybe trying to stop f5.
I'm not.
Yeah, but then it
entirely
allows
sure
G4 anyway, yeah?
Yeah.
What, g4?
No, but g4 now.
It's still.
You, of course.
So bishop
Because Rook
c8.
h7.
I think it's a good line. Maybe you can show it. Rook h7, king e6, and maybe they can find what is happening.
Now would be a good place to ask this question.
White to play. Abhijeet in his element, yeah.
Yep.
Abhijeet, you teach chess? Like, are you into training?
Yeah, I mean, since like post COVID, there were not many tournaments, so I started coaching few people. I also wrote a course on Chessable. Also on modern chess. Yeah, so I've been busy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you can check out Abhijeet's Instagram. Maybe Instagram is a good way, yeah? If anyone wants to learn from you or so on. I don't know if you would have time, but if someone.
No, but Instagram I don't really use so much. Like it's just.
So then, how to reach you?
Twitter? I don't know. Maybe Twitter. Message me on Twitter.
Twitter. Okay. By the way, look at this. The number of people who have found this answer is massive. F5 is the right move here. Amazing. So F5, and after GF, you take F5. And it's over because king F5, rook E7. If you move the king, then take on E7 and take on C8. Oh, by the way, with it down to 12 seconds, 10 seconds. Wow. No, come on. This has something.
I have a question in that line with bishop c8, g4. Couldn't we just play, like after rook h7 check, couldn't we play king e8?
One option is to just play rook h8 and f into g4, yeah?
Yeah, but king c7?
Rook h8, king d7, maybe I start with then you just play king c7.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter so much, I think, here.
But king d7, you have bishop g6, right? Because then there is bishop f5 check.
Yeah, but king c7?
Now, rook f8.
Yeah, of course. I mean, black is worse, but
But the pawn is lost now, yeah, by force. Because rook e6, rook
c8.
Yeah,
it can get some counterplay with gf3, rook e1, rook a1, and so.
Yeah, you can, but the f pawn is pretty.
Like I would rather have that position than just
bishop endgame.
Just
By the way, Vidit went rook c7 and he has allowed f5 in the position. Maybe he calculated what, f5? Because there's no rook c3.
Maybe.
G6 comes with a check.
No, I think maybe f5 he wants to play g5. Rook h5, just king g7. And maybe just play this position.
Yeah, I mean, what choice does he have? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
he had
this looks
clear
bad.
f5, right? Srinath, instead of rook. Like he
I
could have
think
played
he
f5.
probably evaluated that bishop endgame is lost for him. I think, you know, he must have calculated it in his head, visualized it, and then thought, okay, I'm losing here, so I have to look for something else. And with the limited time he had, he looked at what the other options were, and then, okay, rook c7, f5, g5, you just see that, okay, you're not losing immediately, you make it, and then you come back, you spend some more time in the position, and then you realize, okay, it looks terrible, it looks bad. So this is what happens in time travel when you have very limited time, and especially if you're not used to taking decisions that quickly, and you're using the same kind of calculation technique that you're using when you have more time, then it gets very bad for you in time travel. When you have limited time, the players who are very good in time travel, you know, people like Nihal, for example, they go into a zone where they stop calculating. They intuitively make these moves, which is safe for them, which doesn't lose. And you know, the moves which has the least risk, and then they go for it. People who are not so used to getting into time trouble, who play faster in the earlier phases, they can sometimes get into this loop out of habit where they calculate this long variation, use the longer method, and then they don't have enough time to execute it. So when they are low on time, then they just take some random decision, and it causes big mistakes.
Very interesting. I think shifting from intuitive, like calculative mode to intuitive mode is not easy. By the way, all what you guys said has happened.
I think this is simply bad. Yeah, I think very close to just lost.
No, but the threat is now rook c3, right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
here maybe I can maybe go back rook h1, and the point is if you go rook c3, I just
the same stuff. Yeah, you will take the c file. Like
yeah, I'll take the c file. Yeah, king e2, and if you take on a3, probably rook c1. And it's not very easy to see, especially in time trouble. You know, once you take on h5, then you go back rook h1.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the most natural move to see rook h1 when you have like 10 seconds, but when you have a minute, then you have enough time to see it comfortably. And now I think it's pretty much lost for black. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. Also, like as white, you tend to see rook h1 because you also feel that if black gets rook c1, then it's going to be very difficult to bring back this rook on h5. So maybe this is one of the method as white. Maybe you can figure out rook h1 is the move here.
You know, the way I think I would find rook h1, not that it's easy, but because you guys said that the c7 point is very important. So actually, the moment the black rook leaves that square, we can take the control of that square. So I think this is the square which is very critical. And by the way, Levon has found rook h1.
Yeah.
It's
not looking very good.
This is lost now. If he doesn't play rook c3, which he does, yeah, he played rook c3, and now
just king e2.
King e2, and that is where you kind of reach 39th move, and you don't know what to do now after king e2, because if you take rook a3, rook c1 is lost. Yeah, Levon plays king e2, and now you have to make two more moves before the time ends.
But I don't think the time is going to be a factor in this game.
You can't even find a decent move, yeah, here for black. What does black do? A5 maybe, or what?
Yeah, but king d2 or a5, probably king d2, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
you want to try and trade pawns as much as you can, yeah. But the problem with a5 is you're opening up more files for white.
Yeah. Could be that he yeah, as Abhijeet said.
You can also take ba5, but I don't really see. Okay.
I guess just improve the bishop, like bishop c8
instead of a5. Yeah, bishop c8.
Yeah.
Or bishop c6.
But again, king d2, where do you go?
Just rook c7 back. What else can you do?
Okay. But
But are
compared
you
to
just
that
winning
bishop
after rook
endgame,
c1 then?
I
Rook
also have the
c1,
same
maybe
feeling.
fortress, no, in this position or what? Like take.
Could be a fortress, but like I'll go king e3, push f4, then maybe I don't
Yeah,
know.
but at least as black, if I'd be happy if I can save the bishop, because it's become
Yeah.
that kind of situation now. You don't want to lose the bishop,
Yeah.
and
Also with
everything else
white, you
is on
don't
the
have to
ropes.
rush with this rook c1. You can probably first play f4, exchange that pawn, and slowly but surely you will invade either with the rook or with some ideas with g4, g5 eventually.
He played bishop c6 here.
So he wants to play king d2, rook a3, rook c1. But where does he want to put his bishop?
Bishop
Maybe
e8,
bishop
yeah.
e8. Yeah. Okay, so this he'll have counter play. He's gotten a pawn.
Then rook a2 check stuff. And
Yeah. This like black is completely fine. But maybe I have to defend the pawn. Yeah. Somehow rook a1.
you mean here rook a1.
Yeah.
But what about b5, pushing b5 a4?
Mhm. Yeah, but again, how do you like so for instance b5, bishop e8, a4, rook a3.
Bishop c2.
Yeah, you can go for it, but again, your
Man,
pieces are somewhat
there is an
no.
unbelievable move after bishop c2. I mean, the engine.
A6, you mean?
Yeah, a6. Does that hold?
Probably.
You're winning the
Wow.
pawn by force, no? Are you? Yeah, because maybe not.
I can play rook b1 still, but okay, this kind of position is like compared to what you had, it's a dream.
So actually, bishop c6 is a very nice move by Vidit in a way. Provoking b5, but Levon doesn't fall for it. He goes rook a1. I mean, I don't know if it was bad b5, but rook a1. He just plays it safe.
Yeah, quite natural because now you cannot really play rook b3 because maybe bishop c2 also I can play and ask you where do you go with the rook.
Right. The rook b2, the rook can get trapped.
Yeah.
So
if not rook b3, king d2 is coming in.
Is a big threat. Yeah, king d2 trapping.
Yeah, it does not look promising.
He goes bishop d7.
Yeah, king d2 and even a4, a5, those kind of ideas.
By the way, 40 moves have been completed now. So both players get 30 minutes more on the clock. But Abhijeet, your prediction in this game?
Yeah, I think now Levon is a heavy favorite now. And unless he does something, exceptionally bad, I think he should be able to win this. Also, the problem with defending this position is that White can just go on forever here and there, and still he'll have the same position. It's not like he can mess it up.
Yeah.
So, 1-0 is the most likely result, I feel. And also, I think I'll take your leave now.
Yes, Abhijeet, it was amazing having you here and so many amazing insights. Guys, Abhijeet is amazing player. I don't need to tell that because you already saw him in CSL, you've seen him in prior events. But Abhijeet, we were waiting for when you're going to play again next. What, any tournaments planned for you?
I think I'll play in the Indian Championship, which starts this end of this month. I'll play. There is a petroleum event also after that, which is a secret again.
Petroleum event.
Yeah. Then I'll play in Iceland in April. So I mean, of course, it all has to do like what's the situation with the COVID, So
it will be fine
because I was supposed to travel in December also, but to Africa, but since this new variant came in, I got a little bit hesitant to go there. So yeah, let's see. But still, I'm enjoying, writing these courses, teaching once in a while.
Amazing. Amazing.
But yeah,
That's
definitely like when the tournament, the over the board tournament which I played in Sharjah, it was such a relief because playing is always comes most naturally to me at least. So those 9-10 days were like pure joy. It didn't matter whether I was messing up the better position or losing the good positions. It's just that I could play, prepare, analyze afterwards, and just to be around those wonderful chess players, it was quite good. So
yeah, I think what you have been doing for years, if you become so, it becomes second nature to you. So when you are able to do that, you feel at home. So I hope that you get to play soon, Abhijeet, and thank you so much for joining in.
thank you. Bye, Srinath.
Thank you, Abhijeet, and lots of good luck to you from my chat as well. And there's also a shout out from Hemant who says he saw your name outside the Savai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur, and love to him specially. So
Yeah.
thank you and all the
Thank you.
best.
Thank you. Okay, guys.
See you. Bye, Abhijeet.
And I feel now it's not going to be such a long night for you, Sagar.
Well, maybe it's 11:10, so maybe by 12, most likely.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Good luck with the stream. Bye.
Thank you. And now I have Srinath here with me.
Who is again
Srinath,
fixing his OBS?
yeah,
because of
exactly.
Zoom.
When he left, you would have some massive work to do. Yes.
No, it's now it's fixed. It's pretty straightforward with just the two of us.
So how are things, Srinath? Have you recovered from jet lag?
Yeah, feeling much better today. It was really tough after returning. The journey was pretty tiresome. There were actually pretty interesting stories, Sagar, how we reached Vacancy and how we came back. But I think I'll wait for my vlog to come out before I
There's a vlog,
reveal
yeah,
it.
coming up.
I hope so.
How many minutes?
I have given it to the editors.
Lot of footage.
Yeah, I have given a lot of footage, but
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure if it's quality. The quantity is a lot, and it was a pretty interesting trip. We should maybe have a stream just to document, how Arjun reached Vacancy
Really?
before playing the tournament. A 10-15 minute segment.
Wow, I would love to know that. But I think you also had visa difficulties because you wrote that thank you to some I think a lot of people because you were able to reach there.
Yes, I had visa difficulties because it was impossible to get an appointment, first of all, with the COVID, with the Netherlands embassy in Chennai. So when I checked first, the nearest appointment, I checked sometime end of December, and the nearest appointment was January 22 or something, 2022. So then I was like, okay, I cannot wait till that time. It's halfway. And then I started looking for appointments in other cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore. But thankfully, I got an appointment in Chennai. I made the application. And then there was absolutely no update on the visa status at all. And it was like, just 2 days more to the trip with a Saturday, Sunday in between. And also, with these new restrictions, I was scanned if the embassy might get closed anytime because of the Omicron and the government restrictions. So then I had to try and reach out to the ambassador of Netherlands as well as our Ministry of External Affairs, and the ministry responded instantly. They supported. Yeah. It was just a layman writing a email to the ministry, but they responded just the very next day. And the Ministry of External Affairs, they work 24 into 7. So when Delhi is sleeping, their embassies all around the world are awake.
Wow.
And they responded the next day. The ambassador also responded the next day. Instantly, he saw the message had sent on a social media platform and through a friend. He saw that and he responded even before the ministry reached out to him, saying that he will look into it. And my visa got approved the very evening. of
Amazing.
that.
Amazing.
This was the easy part.
Yeah. This was the easy part. Yeah.
Yeah. This was the easy part. And then it was nightmare to just get Arjun to uh, Europe, to the Shenzhen area. That took a long time, and it was pretty nervous. And there was a possibility that Arjun could have been stopped even before the trip due to some mistakes by the airline. And if that had happened, Arjun may not have been able to even play in this challenges tournament. So a lot of things
It
could
could
have.
have changed so many things. Yeah. It all
Exactly, it could have
hinged
changed
on
so
like,
many things.
yeah, it's in this phase, you cannot say anything. I was just looking at, all the youngsters. I mean, of course, Arjun and Nihal and Prag and all are now 16, 17, 18. But those who were like 10, 11, 12, they've now hardly without playing have just 2 years added. And it's so difficult, right? This period for everyone.
Absolutely. I think it's difficult in different ways for different age groups. Um, for the older people, they started taking on a lot of responsibilities during the pandemic. Like, what Abhijeet was saying, he started coaching, he started doing courses. Some people started to stream or, set up a larger establishment. And the responsibilities became immense. And then to combine it with their pre-COVID playing levels, it hasn't been easy for a lot of older people. And that's one aspect. Another aspect is the older you get, the more frequently you have to keep playing to stay in touch, as far as I know, because there is a memory component to how well you can play chess. It's more of a muscle memory kind of thing, not a rote memory. So you keep doing it and the movements flow. And if you stop doing it, then the memory starts declining. And this rate of decline of the memory, I think it's more when you're older. It starts declining faster. And when you're younger, I think it declines slower. So, you don't see anything for a month and then you get back. You start getting back, you start recalling faster. It could be that your brain is fresher, you have less information in general, or it could just be the neuroplasticity component. I don't know. But I think it's harder if you haven't played for 2 years and you're older and you have to just come back and play consistently.
It's funny, right? Because in a way, like in chess, it's very specific to chess. Because in some other field, being like what 25 or 30 is like you're young. So let's say if I'm trying to be an entrepreneur right now, being 30 is like you're young and stuff like that. But in chess, 30 is already not so young anymore.
Absolutely. I was just talking to this on a call yesterday with a person, and we were talking about how when you're into sport, you go through these challenges when you're 8 to 38. It starts very early, and you go through a lot of challenges in your teens, which people usually face in their late 20s in the other academic fields. And so, let's say they have these career challenges from 25 to 55. And if you're playing sport professionally at a very young age, it's quite possible that you face them from 8 to 38. So you do have that 10-15 year head start, which can go both ways. It can be said that you're losing your childhood, but it can also be said that you're preparing for life earlier.
For sure, yeah. I mean, in general, you can look at Negi Parimarjan. I like to give his example. He had two careers by the time, he excelled at two things by the time he was like 22, 23. Became a top GM, 2690. Also managed to get into MIT, Stanford, and so
And yeah, so many examples.
yeah.
And yeah.
By the way, Srinath, one question which a lot of people are asking here is, if with it had time pressure problems in Vaikanse and you were there and you saw, like a lot of games, he came under time pressure. What should, he have, what would he have done in these 3-4 days? Is it even possible to fix something like this?
In 3 4 days, you can't really do a lot, but there are instances and occasions where you can make a small psychological change, which turns out to make a big difference. Sometimes you seem to be having these chronic weaknesses or something you keep repeating. For some people, it can be that they're just not converting better positions. They keep making draws in those situations. For some people, it's about how they lose one game and then they get on a tilt. And these kind of things, that can be a small psychological change, which can make a very, very big difference. So only those kind of things are possible. It's not possible that he makes a big improvement in terms of his opening preparation or chess, how his thinking process, which can change things. But yeah, sometimes sometimes some really big changes happen. I remember in 2014, in my own personal example, I was playing in Greece and I was really struggling at that time. I was an international master, 2400, and I was playing these three tournaments in Greece. The first two tournaments went so bad. I had gone there to increase my rating, and I ended up losing ELO rating. And at that time, it was quite a big amount of money for me to invest and play these tournaments. So I had spent this money and I ended up losing rating, and I was like in a very, very low mentally. And between the second tournament and the third tournament, I read this book called Flow, which is written by Mihail Csikszentmihalyi. And flow is basically a state of mind where you just lose yourself and you're completely in tune with the experience that you're having. It's an optimal experience state of mind. Like, let's say you play chess and you get so lost into it that nothing else comes into your mind. You're completely into it. And when I was reading that book, what I realized is when I started out playing chess, when I was, 6 years old, 7 years old, this was the exact state of mind I was in. I just wanted to play. And when I played, when I was in that zone, nothing else came to my mind. No championship, no points, no rating, nothing else. I just enjoyed a loud playing, and that's why I started to play chess in the first place. Everything else came later, the titles, the rating, and all these things. And that made a that was like a life changing moment for me, because then the third tournament, I decided it doesn't matter what my results are, what my rating will be. I'm just going to go there and enjoy playing chess and be in tune with it. So I tried to do that consciously in the tournament, and it worked amazingly well. And then I had a string of tournaments where I won the next tournament that I played, where I was 100 points below the first seed, and it was a strong tournament for me. I was like about 24-14. The first seed was about 25-40. It was Cotronius. And I managed to win the next tournament I played as well after that. And I increased like 60 points in the next four tournaments. But that became a byproduct. What really changed was my state of mind.
Yeah, well, a good book suggestion here by Srinath, Flow. I have heard the name of this. I think psychologist, right?
Yes. So there is this branch of psychology called positive psychology, which is basically so a lot of psychology, the Freud in theories and stuff, it focused on curing something which is bad. And positive psychology is a relatively new branch.
Sean Acker, yes. The happiness advantage also.
Which one?
Happiness Advantage by Sean Acker.
I'm not sure. I don't know this book, but the persons I know is Marty Seligman, who is the father of positive psychology, and Csikszentmihalyi, who was also one of the early exponents of it. And it actually started with a YouTube video that Ramesh sent me sometime back. It was a video of Swami Sarvapriyananda teaching the secret of concentration in IIT Kanpur. And there, this Swami, who is from the Ramakrishna Mission order, he speaks about flow. He speaks about this concept. That's where I got introduced to it. And then I bought the book and I delved deeper. So that's why, I keep crediting some things and some people over and over again because they have made that difference. They have sown that seed, and a lot of fruits were a result of that.
Tremendous, tremendous. Srinath, if we look at one of the games in this group itself where Vidit and Levon are playing, it is
Mhm.
Vincent Kamer versus Daniel Dubov. And if you look at it, Vincent has Rook Bishop versus Rook. Draw?
This is very interesting. And so on all the evenings after our games, we used to hang out in Surya's room having dinner together. And post dinner, we used to talk about all the different things. And one of the things Surya showed us a lot was the Rook endgames. He showed a lot of amazing things. And Rook and Bishop versus Rook was one of it. Uh, I think right now Black is holding this defense, which is known as Cochrane defense. Yeah. The Cochrane setup with Rook on d2, Bishop on d4. You're kind of holding the king on d5 hostage. The king moves to e5, Black king goes to c7. The king moves to c5, the Black king goes to e7. So this is one of the defenses. And the second defense is where, second type of defense is where you keep your king and rook one square apart. Like king is on c7, rook is on e7.
Second rank defense, yes?
Yeah, the second rank defense. So these are the two basic fundamental things you have to know about Rook and Bishop versus Rook, the Cochrane setup and the second rank defense. But what I understood from Surya, he started that conversation by saying that I recently came to know that I know nothing about Rook and Bishop endgames. And first I was like laughing. I mean, what do you mean you know nothing? It's all out there, right? We all know the theoretical questions.
Yeah.
But then he showed a number of interesting things. For example, he showed this game between Navara against Anand, where it was Gashimo Memorial, I think 2020 or 2021, where Anand
right
was
now,
trying.
It happened just like a month ago. I was commentating live on it when Anand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Anand held all the moves and then final one blunder and he lost.
Yes, I think because he didn't want to use the second rank defense at that time. But it's actually quite tricky if you're just, using this only one defense and you hold on to it. There are situations where the rook and bishop can create a situation where your defense doesn't work. And these kind of situations, it can get difficult for the person who is holding just one defense.
Right. Yeah, you need to be a little more flexible with both defenses there. But here, I think Dubov should be able to, like, if you give a check on h7 here, then I guess he has to not play king c8 because that, or that's also okay here. Yeah, sure. King c8, there is king c6, there is rook d4. If you give a check, then the rook interposes. So
you probably want to go as far away from the d5 king, yeah? And king c8 kind of keeps things flexible, so you're not too much into the corner, nor are you getting into a mating net, because as you said, king c6 doesn't work because rook can just take the bishop.
So you say that Dubov will hold this against Vincent?
I think 85% he will hold this, but there's still a very, very minute chance. It's also not clear to me how much Vincent would know about this, because even amongst the top players, most people they just stop with these theoretical questions and then they don't go any further. But I think this is also an important, this is also a very useful area of improvement, where a strong GM can, know even more than another elite GM by.
And you have to basically train with a good GM, I guess, to get this. Like if you work with Surya or someone like who knows this, it's easier. Otherwise, you might spend like days or months trying to learn these little tricks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Then this can become like learning maths from school textbooks. You just have these exercises and no step by step to how to solve it. Um, yes, two things. Yeah, it's useful to have someone to learn from, and it's also useful to have that curiosity about endgames in general.
Right.
Generally, people automatically have curiosity about the openings part, and a lot of them can get good at it. But when you're curious about these kind of endgames and you start analyzing them on your own, and then you occasionally uh, take a reference with whatever books or computer you have, then also you can learn a lot, I think. And here also, the more and more you keep repeating, the more and more examples, that better you get at pattern recognition. So then you start sensing things better. And where these things really help is to know. So most often it was like that with its game, there is this position, and then four moves later you reach a position, and you have to evaluate instantly in your mind whether this position is holdable or whether you're losing. And there, when you have a very, very keen sense of endgames, there those half points make a difference.
True. Nice. By the way, if we look at Wojtaszek versus Rapport, very interesting thing happened there, because if we go to move number 40, Wojtaszek played Rook B4, Rapport took on B4, Knight B4, and then he went Knight C4 here, Richard Rapport, on move number 41, when he had a lot of time actually on the clock. He played this move Knight C4, which was a massive blunder.
Oh, this is so beautiful, no? I mean, this is so beautiful.
Yeah,
And
it's like you can trap your opponent's knight, yeah, something like that.
yeah, exactly. You can trap it, or you just go and take the a pawn as white.
So he played knight d3, Wojtaszek, and I think he missed his chance here. And after king e7, the game still goes on. I think white is a pawn up, still pressing. But what was the amazing move here that white had? Maybe we can ask people to guess. White to
Absolutely.
move.
Meanwhile, a shout out to all those who joined the membership in my channel, which is called Knights. Mikasa, Anshika, and I think it's Akshay, but I don't remember. Akshat Kul Shrestha.
Amazing. Yeah, right. Knight c6 is the move that is mentioned by people. But let's say, okay, I understand that knight takes b2. Oh, if you go king d2, there is knight c4.
Yes.
So how do we continue here?
That's for the chat, right?
No, you I guess, I mean, what would you suggest?
Knight a5.
Knight a5. Trapping this.
No. Knight a5, I lose king e5. So you have to start with e5 check.
Oh, but
And
king
then
e5, and then if I go
king d4
a2,
and knight c4.
the king, this is coming out. So therefore, you start with e5, yeah?
Yeah, you start with e5. You push that king away. Now you trap this knight on b2.
Oh, beautiful. So cool. Amazing variation. So he couldn't take the pawn. And once he cannot take the pawn, let's say if he goes e5 on his own, then maybe just king d3. And if you go back with your knight, then the king is coming to c3, b4. And if you take on b2, then king c3. And anyway, king comes to b4 and you lose a4.
Yeah.
Big chance missed by Wojtaszek. And he's like the last minute replacement for Ding Liren. So he must have, come to this tournament with very little to lose.
Yes, but he's also a man of culture. I really approve his opening choice in this game. And being a second of Vichy, former second of Vichy, it all adds up.
Yeah. He did play something like Catalan, although it started with some other opening, but later on, it did transpose into Catalan.
Yeah, which is interesting, Esipenko and Wojciech were the two replacements today, and they both started with the Catalan.
Well, I think these days everyone is playing that, following Magnus's footsteps, also your course, and so on.
I mean, where did Magnus get those footsteps from?
Maybe from you, yeah.
It feels a bit sacrilegious to agree with that, but I won't disagree with that either.
Nice. By the way, in Vidit's game, Srinath, do you think that Vidit has any chances now for in this position, or it's just too much because White has a5 on one side, the Rook can move from the other side and get in?
It looks very grim, Sagar. I think the percentage is very low for Vidit. We have these two weaknesses, yeah. One, Vidit is trying to protect the f6 pawn is a weakness, and the white rook can attack it from h6, for example, or anywhere on the h7 file. And second, Levon would open up the a file as well, a5 into b6, and then he will have two entry points after the opening up of the a file, the a7 point and the a8 point. And the black rook will be able to defend only one of these points. So black has one rook, one king to defend against all possible entry points. So let's say he has two soldiers and there are two entry points within the castle. And the opposition can enter with more than two soldiers through any one of them. So he stations one of his soldier on one side, the other on the other side. But the opposition, they can move very quickly from one side to another, whereas Vidit cannot with his king. So this is the fundamental problem that he has. And the third weakness is the d5 pawn. So the d5 pawn cannot be attacked right now by white, because if he moves the bishop, let's say it allows rook c4. Or when you play a5 and then move the bishop, then your bishop is defending the b5 point. But what white will do is he'll first attack black's weakness and he will bind them down to that one weakness. And then when black is totally tied up and distracted, then white can make moves like king c3, king b4, then bishop c2, bishop b3, and attack the d5 pawn as well. So it's. So I think.
Do you think starting with bishop c2 makes sense? Because as you said, rook c4, but I have king d3 right there, and then bishop b3.
It makes sense. It makes sense to start with bishop c2, but I'm thinking Levon might, just start with a5.
Yeah, he did it.
That's what he
pushed.
Because you want to first open up avenues. You want to create more entry points, and then you first attack those weakness. You make opponent tied down to that weakness, and then you start attacking the other weaknesses when the opponent is tied down.
Take, and rook c7 might happen. Now a7 is kind of defended. And maybe now again Levon has to figure out.
Yeah.
Do you think rook a6 there or what?
Rook a6, king e7, yeah, defending d6.
Yeah.
But rook a6 is also quite valid.
Rook a6, king e7. But how do the thing is, I agree with you that white is better. I clearly understand that. Also, is pawn up. So that's out of question. But it's not so simple to break in. I mean, even if you like what you explained, I completely get it that there are two weaknesses and, white can quickly move. But what exactly is the concrete plan, or you don't think like that in this position?
You can think like that. For example, you start with rook a6, king e7.
Yeah.
Now you're tied down your opponent. So next, what you can do is you just go king e3 and try and break with f4. So once you break with f4, you also get king into f4, and then you have options with g5. So why I start with a5 and open up the a file is because now your rook on c7 is tied down to the defense of a7 pawn. So it's not so easy as black to try and create counterplay, and all related variations will end up losing something.
So what you're saying is king e3, f4 eventually is the right plan to go for.
It's actually a very simple and straightforward plan because white has this extra pawn and he can get rid of the double pawn and create a passer. So this is, I think this is one of the biggest reasons why this position is so bad for black. This would be better for white, I think, even without the f3 pawn. But that would be like, plus 0.5, plus 1 something. The reason why this is like, plus 3 levels is because white simply has an extra pawn and a very straightforward plan.
Right. Okay. So a5, and this looks really bad. By the way, Srinath, in the game with Wojtaszek and Rapport, once again, Wojtaszek has got a huge advantage. This knight endgame is very tricky and complicated. I mean, it's very difficult to understand what's happening.
I think it's a massive advantage for white because again, the general rule with knight endgame, as with pawn endgame, if you're a pawn up, if you have more material, your chances to win are very, very high. And apart from that, it also helps that you have a good king, a centralized king, and the knight is well placed. So these are the three aspects in knight endgames: material, the king's placement, and the knight's placement. And with king d4, Wojtaszek, so he first defended his b2 pawn. He made sure everything is secure. And now with king d4, he's trying to go after the black pawns on the king side. So the immediate threat is knight e5 to attack the f7 pawn. You give up the b2 pawn, but you end up taking f7, g5. The white king is nearby, so the a pawn doesn't become a dangerous passer. But the white's pawns are very far from black's king. So that this helps that the white king is in the center, the black king is not. If black does not allow knight e5, if he plays f6, which was just played, then white can just play e5, and it's pretty much the same thing. F into e5, knight into e5, knight into b2, and here I think even knight f7 is pretty strong. Knight f7 or king c3, that's what I was thinking. But I think you can start with king c3 also. Knight d1 check, king d2. Some calculation to do.
Yeah, this looks tough, but this is exactly how, I mean, even the best players struggle in knight endgames, right? It's all about calculation.
True, but also that's the easier part of it, because when you have something concrete and straightforward to calculate that you can see till the end, that's actually easier, because in most situations you just cannot calculate. You just cannot calculate till the end.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just talking too many moves and not making them on the board.
Aradhya Garg in the chat says after knight, f6, e5, take knight e5, knight b2, f4 wins for white.
Yeah, f4 is simple and straightforward. Nice move.
Take and then g5 with the pawn running through. Very nice.
Yeah.
But then there was this one moment where around move 42, king e7 was played, and there it's around equal. So I don't understand how it suddenly changed. Like, what is it that maybe not equal, but maybe there's some chances, to hold there. Maybe.
Yeah, seems so. It seems that after king e7, king d1, black had this simplifying move with f5, yeah?
And that was important. Like, if you take twice, then king f6. And okay, if more pawns get exchanged, the better the chances for a draw here. But still, white was pressing. By the way, Fedosiev has just beaten Oparin. And I think, Srinath, in this group or this pool, I felt that clearly Richard Rapport is the strongest player. But I do think that Fedosiev has great chances.
In the
because
B
once
group, yes.
Once Ding Lijian was out, I thought that it was maybe one of the toughest groups, because there was Ding Lijian, there was Rapport, there was Fedosiev. But suddenly you have Ding Lijian out and Wojtaszek is in. So I thought that now Rapport seems like the favorite, but I think Fedosiev as well, very, very powerful.
True. Fedossi, it seems he's quite underrated with his rating of 27.4. That could
Yes.
be because sometimes he plays really well and sometimes his level can drop quite a bit, like with Nepo, like how it happened with Nepo in the World Championship.
Hmm.
But having said that, the difference in rating between these people, as Wojciech showed today, it can be quite inconsequential at times.
Right. Right.
It
True.
can be that. So I think any so it feels to me it feels like Oparin is maybe not quite at that level in this group, but the other three they all have their chances. Wojciech a bit since he just came into this tournament unprepared as a last minute replacement, but he was quite consistently around 27.30, 27.40, and his rating dropped a bit, but I think that's temporary.
Right. By the way, going to with its game, he's just right now after King D6. Levon has pushed his pawn to F4. So Levon actually is one of these very direct players. Yeah, he doesn't wait around and he doesn't beat around the bush. He instantly pushed A5 in that position on move 45. Then he took and got in. With it played Rook B8 and then he went King E3 and F4. But maybe with what you said, yeah, Srinath could have been even stronger. Like you go King C3 to B4, then you shuffle your bishop from C2 to B3, and then that could have been stronger than what Aronian is doing.
I'm not entirely sure because that would have been the way if the pawn was not on f3. But with the pawn on f3, I feel that this king e3 f4 is simply the most straightforward way. You just want to create a passed pawn, and after king e3 and pawn to f4, black either has to play g into f4, allow king into f4.
Yeah.
And here the unfortunate aspect for black is whenever you move your rook, white immediately has rook b7 and the
So
b6
if I
pawn
go Rook
falls.
G8, you'll go Rook B7.
Yes, and you lose one more pawn. So the rook is tied down. You cannot fight with the rook. The king on d6 is tied down because you move it and you get into some tactic probably. So g into f4, king into f4, and then you just break with g5. You create this f parser. And if black tries to stop that pawn, then he has no option but to give up something on the other side because all
Right.
his pieces are tied down. So I think this is like the simplest and easiest way for white to win from here. And I think, to be brutally honest, it's just a winning position for white. I think black has very, very less chances to save this.
By the way, Srinath, I have a very interesting question for the chat. So after the moves F4, GF, King F4, Rook G8, Rook B7. Yes, it's losing, but can the chat find a very tricky idea here with black to play? I mean, it's lost, but still it's nice.
Nice. I say it too.
Okay, guys, try to think.
And this is a very, very nice example, yeah, because the engine will not show this.
Yeah, it's a very interesting kind of. Maybe in online chess, it could work.
True, 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 true.
Oh, but there are people who have actually found it, which is very nice, guys. Well done. Mistadam, certified genius, Rishi, Nishchal, Jyotinjay, Atharva, Safal, Shubham. Great. Did people in your chat find it?
One of them found it, Vikash.
Amazing, guys. Rook takes G4, King takes, and Bishop F5. And if now he takes with either of the piece, it's stalemate. King is over. But you can play King F4, and after Rook Bishop D3, Rook B6, it's winning for white. So just didn't work out, but was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So
Nice trick.
F4 has been played, and now with it thinking, maybe with it has this Rook H8 idea, Srinath, to get his Rook active from H3, get in from there.
Yeah, he has to try something like that. Rook H8. Then I think white starts with F into G5.
Yeah.
F into G5 and Rook B7. Or do you have some kind of counterplay with Rook H3 check at any point?
Maybe FG5. Let's first give a check, and then you go King D2, right? Because you have to protect your bishop.
Yeah.
And now take back.
Yeah, and Rook B7 anyway.
Yeah, Rook B7.
Because Rook G3 I'll protect with Bishop E2, and if you give Rook H2 check, then I just go King C3 and hide behind my bishop, and then maybe Rook H3. Yeah,
Correct.
just to
King C3, but Rook H3, Rook B6.
King C7.
King C7, and then B5 is hanging, and that might give. That's then with it is back in the game. So after Rook H3, how do you continue? Because you can't take on B6.
Yeah, that's what I was also trying
Maybe
to figure
F6.
out. Yeah, F6. I was thinking, but F6, Rook F3. Now F7 wins. Yeah.
Wow. F7.
Rook into F7, Bishop F5. I was thinking, but I'm not sure
And
because
this,
there's some Bishop E8. So
but
maybe
this
not.
pawn endgame is not. You have to go into this Rook end. Okay, Bishop E8. Yeah, but then Rook B6.
Yeah.
And white is better here. So yeah, true. By the way,
But this is not easy to calculate.
True. I mean, with it has to activate his rook, so he's gone Rook E8 check, forcing King F3 in the game. Yeah, and now this is the position.
Yeah, but doesn't really make much difference, no?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I mean, even if you go Rook H8, it could lead to the same line.
Yeah.
Okay, very quickly, let's check Vincent versus Dubov, and Dubov defending really well. I think the last capture happened on move number. There have been a lot of moves. FE4 45.
Yeah.
So
45.
right now we have 30 moves already played, and Dubov holding his own. Were you able to kind of meet Dubov in Vaikanze? Like, was he okay when he left? I mean, you shouldn't meet, right? Because
no. Actually, in Vaikanze, only the players were allowed into the hall. So even as a second, it was not so different from watching it back in India.
Really,
not too different. So even in the opening ceremony, there was like this gallery, the pavilion, and the seconds had to go up on top of that, and the players were seated in the hall, and the masters and challengers, they were seated at different places, so that if someone happens to be contagious, the contagion can be limited.
Wow.
So the only place where you could bump into the players was if you happen to stalk them at the entrance and jump at them as they're entering the hall or leaving out. But that would
Were
be
there
like
fans who were coming there?
yeah, there were fans. So there were people who were waiting outside and getting an autograph like 10 minutes before the game, and we also met a very interesting person. His name was Abhijeet, and he works in one of the companies in one of the trading companies in Netherlands. I don't remember the name. All I remember is it was an offshoot from Optiva, and he's from IIT Bombay, alumni of IIT Bombay.
Okay.
And he moved to Amsterdam. Then he worked in Bangalore, and then he moved to Amsterdam. So the last he made a trip from Amsterdam to Vaikanze, and we hung out most of the last day after we were just playing card games. I, Surya, Arjun.
What is that? Salem.
Salem was one of the games, and he also there's also another game which Abhijeet brought. I don't remember the name of the game, but it's a game where you trade beans.
Okay.
It's
Seems
like Monopoly, but a better version of it, I would say.
interesting. Okay, by the way, in the game Wojciech Rapport, G4 Rapport has managed to create a passer, but it seems like it shouldn't help. FG, and then E7. I think you have to go back with your knight to D6, and this should not be King E5. White should win this.
Yeah, so you take the king towards the knight, and after
Knight
king
E8.
e5, knight e8, king e6, black cannot. Oh no, king e6 doesn't work for some reason. Then black has g3, yeah? So you have to be careful here,
G3.
Saga.
But how about King F4 and mopping up the G4 pawn, and then
And then finally you take the a4 pawn if after black takes the e7 pawn.
yeah,
King
you are
f4,
also
king c6. Just
King
knight e5,
C4,
knight g6. Yeah.
King D7. And knight E5. Yeah. King E7, then knight. Somehow you are not in time to win this. Like if you go knight C4, King E6, knight B6, King D6, knight A4, even that position is a draw. I can't believe it.
Oh, I don't understand how though.
I also don't know. Like you have 2 pawns, but somehow it seems like the engine likes it equal.
Wow.
It's like you think you know everything about chess, but then such positions come and they show equal, and you're like, did I learn all these years?
I know, right? I had that moment in Alpha Zero came into the scene. I was like, something can do in 4 hours what I couldn't do in 40 years. What I can do in 40 years, and what's the point of my life and existence?
This existential things happen every once in a while. Like recently when people started talking about crypto, NFTs and all of that, and I was like, I don't know, what am I doing? This is the future. Metaverse is the future, and I'm here writing articles and making videos on game analysis, and people are talking. So that does
Yeah, but
happen.
metaverse is not too different from the actual real life as we know it.
Hmm.
I mean, for
Yeah.
example, a company we created, a country we created, metaverse we created, everything we create.
I mean, right now what we are doing, you could be quite close, yeah,
Yeah,
to that. But of course, it would be much better than what is happening right now.
better or worse, I don't know.
Oh, look, with it, what has he done? He's just sacked a bishop.
He's trying for it. He's trying for this. Now he's just going to throw his rook at White's king.
But is it going to be enough? Not
Looking
really,
at the
yeah.
bar, we can say that it's not.
Oh, he's going for this draw. Rook
Yeah,
F4
exactly.
stuff, mad rook stuff.
But the problem is the White king goes to d2, and then the bishop will take on e2.
Oh, this is great attempt by Vidit. This stalemate idea which we spoke of.
Yeah, for sure. This is
And
his best chance.
you just keep pursuing. I mean, it's like do or die, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, you are lost. So Vidit is like he's gone all in basically here.
Exactly. Anyway, it's lost. So why not take a chance? And
So King E3, Rook E4, right? Then you go what?
King D2, I was thinking.
King D2, Rook D4.
Bishop D3.
But Srinath, G4 hangs, and then I have 2 pawns there.
Yeah, but I think this position should win because you're never going to take the F5 pawn as
Yeah, that's true.
black.
That's true.
So, I mean, if I was playing a blitz or bullet game, this is what I would do. I just try to bring the bishop back. That's my reflex. And just thwart this stalemate attempt. There can be maybe a simpler way, is to bring the king to e1. You give rook e4 check, I take the king to f2. You give rook f4 check, and I bring the king to e1. Now I'm losing only one pawn.
Smart. Rook e4, bishop e2.
Yeah. Yeah, he will see this because he has time. So maybe that's how my brain worked. I first saw king d2 because the bishop has to take the rook or come in the way. And then losing the d4 pawn with check, I saw that you can do the same with the king on e1 without going to d2 and allowing the check, and you lose only one of the pawns.
So that means the game is over. I think Vidit can resign here because he's going to have only one pawn for a piece. By the way, Sun Tzu has sent in a super chat saying, really hope Vidit is able to convert this or Aronian blunders something and Vidit gets back into the winning groove. Also, great work, Srinath, with Arjun. Super coach you are. I'll get my battery while you respond once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sun Tzu. It's also very interesting that just as the clock is about to strike 12 o'clock, just as Sagar's anniversary is about to begin, his battery has ran out so conveniently and he's out to get the charger. I really don't know what's going on right now, whether, Sagar has a special surprise for Amruta, whether, they're doing something off camera at this time to celebrate their 8th anniversary. But it's a very convenient moment for the battery to go off. That's all I'm saying. And here he's back again. Happy anniversary, Saga.
Oh, wow. How did you remember?
See, that's why I came to the stream today.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be there at 12 to wish you.
Thank you. I should go and wish my wife, yes.
Yes, that's what I was saying to the chat, that it was a very convenient moment for the battery to go off and to go off camera.
No, I didn't even realize. I came and I saw the time. It was 0.00.
Yes. You saw the evaluation bar or the time?
No, the time. Guys, thank you. This is 8 years of marriage.
Yes, congratulations and happy anniversary.
Thank you. I'll go and wish Amruta. By the way, Rook A4 here, which means you are forced to trade rooks because Rook has no other square on the file, and then it's winning.
Yes, it's winning. It's winning. So, yeah, you can go and wish her now.
Yeah, sure.
That is Sagar's 8th anniversary, and Sagar and Amruta's. I congratulated Sagar, but I think the real congratulations should go to Amruta. That's what I always thought. And they're such a cute couple. It's amazing. I've never seen anyone who has been so with each other, every single day. You see a lot of couples and people get together all the time, but I've never seen someone being so with each other, so close with each other.
Amruta says, how can you be so unprofessional to come in between the stream?
I can so imagine that though. All right. So I think I'll on that note I'll leave now, Saga. I'll leave you with Amruta.
Really, you remember? That's so nice, Srinath. That I would have forgotten really if you wouldn't have wished. I mean, I would have remembered it later, like at 12.
Chat would have reminded you,
something like that, because I'd spoken about it a little while ago. But I was so much into this rook sacrifice that when I came back and you wished, so it was very kind and very sweet of you. Thank you.
Have a happy anniversary, and I hope many more years to come. Keep inspiring us, young singles, and
keep inspiring us to be single, or what are you saying? No, but okay. I guess Srinath, any predictions on when you are going to anything like that on cards for people?
My marriage you're asking? No idea.
No,
it's still like the COVID pandemic. We really have no clue about it. There's only hope.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope that someone watching it, just like how so many amazing matches you've made, like for students you help. I'm sure something will happen here as well.
What matches did I make for students?
I know. I mean, the main thing is like, you're not just a trainer, right? You're also, in many ways, you make things. As you said, you are an enabler, right?
Yeah.
Like
But no matchmaking though. I mean, I haven't gone
like
to that
for
part yet.
example, matchmaking in the sense, if you see a good, like for example, let's say when Arjun is working right now, you try to find good events for him. That's a match. You try to find
Yeah,
good
those kind of
sponsors for
matches,
him.
yes.
Match. You find a good coach for him. I don't know other things. Let's not get into that, but
See, when you put it that way, I'm just going to stop getting students from any parents.
complete solutions here, guys, for chess training. Become a 2700 GM plus happy life, satisfied everything. But okay,
Promotion
Srinath,
OP. Yeah,
great.
yeah, Sagar.
Thanks
That
for
was
tuning in,
lovely
and
being with
yeah,
you.
see you soon. Bye,
See you. Bye bye.
guys. That was
All right, that was Sagar, and it was such a fun stream. Fun to be with Sagar after such a long time. And I really apologize for missing out a lot of chats, but the the conversation with Sagar was so engrossing that I read through a lot of chats, but I couldn't see it. But now, guys, I'm here. I'm all yours. So ask away anything you want, and chat away anything you want, and I'm here to answer your questions. Some of it um, not related to marriage. People asking me for marriage coaching is like asking chess coaching from somewhere. First, I should learn it. You're welcome, Ishan. Vansh goes through it a lifetime, so be happy that it's only 2 hours. How long do I know Saga? I'll go to the just chatting screen, by the way. Uh, yeah, so how long do I and Saga know each other? I think 2008 we met for the first time. So it's close to 14 years, a bit longer than Amrita, but I don't get to brag about it. When is Arjun's next tournament? We don't know yet. It's a mystery. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like the stream, and stay tuned for more updates. Congratulations, Om Gupta. Nimzo Indian with G4 on the third move. I'm really not sure if there will be a lot of takers for that. Ishan is going into hallucination zone. If someone has the number of NCB, maybe you can send them to Ishan's place. He's been in that zone for a while now. Can Vidit still win Grand Prix? It's going to be tough after today's loss, but he has to win games. Losing is fine, but he has to strike back. He has to get a few wins. That's the only way it's going to happen. Thank you, Pranjalya. That was indeed very nice. Sagar is just amazing, by the way. We praise Arjun, we praise Nihal, we praise Divya, but all of them, we praise Raunak. But I saw all of them first from the Chessbase India news website, and Sagar has been exceptional in that way. He's unique. I can't really think of anyone else who has done those things. And one thing I never figured out is what is Sagar's motivation? Because I mean, he started doing these things when there was absolutely no one else from our circle on YouTube, and he was just making all these videos, and at that time people are we are just laughing at Saga doing these things. Yeah, we are like, what is he doing? It started somewhere in 2013 in the national championship, and at least for us it was an alien concept. I'm sure YouTube existed back then, and there were pretty awesome vloggers and streamers out there, but us chess players living in our little ignorant bubble, for us it was an alien concept, and we had no idea about all these things. And it was all alien for us. But Saga started out all that 8 years ago, 9 years ago. He sowed the seeds then, and uh, even now, yeah, he has COVID, and then he comes up and streams. He. I won't lie to you. That day when I was watching from White, and I was watching and popping in from time to time from White to see the pulse of the chat and things. And Sagar looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. He looked so badly out of shape. And I was like, Sagar, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you streaming when you have COVID? But such was his amazing dedication. And I DM'd him that day. I was like, Sagar, please take care. And he was like, if you're, and then he just brushed that away, and he was like, if you're free, please join one of the days. I'll send Zoom link. All he could think of was streaming and bringing out uh, chess, making it accessible to the masses, bringing out people, bringing out stories, heroes, and all these things. I The amount of admiration Sagar has from the chess fraternity is massive. He's like a bit like how Harvey Dent was at the beginning of the Batman, the Dark Knight. Just the beginning part. Don't twist it. By the way, how many of you got the Gollum reference? It's a pretty young chat out here, I'm thinking. And I can't imagine a lot of you having read Lord of the Rings, which, and some people are so ignorant that they don't even watch the movies. Such people do exist. So sad. So sad. I have to leave the chat now on that note. Actually, in the movies, the Gollum is, I think, better represented. You can get a better visual picture. All right, so I think I'll end the stream on this note for tonight. It was nice to get back with you guys. Nice to. Avik, you're a person of culture. Yeah, so I initially intended to stream till 11:30, but it was Sagar's anniversary, so I wanted to wait till 12. That's a good idea, Anshika, but I want to get some rest. I'm still jet lagged, so not like I'm going to sleep at 12 exactly, but some personal time, some quiet time, and then I'll go to sleep. Off camera, off of these lights and stuff. Thank you so much, Pranjalya. So I don't know what the next stream will be on the weekend, but I'm really hoping to do a lot more of these short streams and get the vlog out as soon as I can. So stay tuned for that. And post that from next week, I think we can resume the title Tuesday, the Arena Kings, and the usual suspects, and just hang out and have fun occasionally. So thank you so much, all of you. Good to be back with all of you, and see you all soon for now. And yeah, see you soon on stream and on the Discord as well. So bye bye. Thank you so much. See you all. Good night.